All right, we're gonna hear a rant about a Latina rom-com that's getting canceled, and it's a stupid drama. But hey, let's check it out. Why not? Might as well.
I'm just gonna be really blunt right now. This
Oh, I'm in the
drama
way.
is so stupid, man. It is just so stupid. It just goes to show that there is too many people in this world right now that just don't truly have much going on to
Yeah, we should eradicate them.
be upset with an offer choosing a name called Latina for their main female character. Now,
Like
there
her
is
name is
more to the
Latina.
story than
That's
just that, but
interesting, I guess.
obviously, it's just. This drama's so stupid, man, because it's like
Is she a
people
Latina
are
named Latina?
automatically upset with this because of the name decision, but
Uh,
also finding out that the offer chose, the name thanks to the usage of AI. And I'm going to get into all these points in a second, but this drama has just been
you know, if people get mad because an AI helped this guy choose a name, are people going to be mad at people that exist that have their name chosen because their parents used AI to choose their name as well? This is just a general question because maybe an AI name would be better than having another John, Luke, Matthew, insert basic name here. You know what I'm saying?
all over my feed for the past few days now, ever since this post is made, on the 15th of August, and it is completely spiraled out of control. There's just so many people either slandering the offer, people defending the offer, people down the middle. There's just so much going on, and I'm just like, Bro, it's not that serious. It's literally a manga. Like, I'll read this description right here, okay? I'll read it before we go any further. A new Latina rom-com. The dark brown Latina girl is aiming for my body. That is the name of the title.
Was that made with AI as well? Because, bro, that name is terrible. The dark brown Latina girl is aiming for my body, bro. What?
The light novel by Kiraku
Bro, the Japanese version must sound better than this.
Kishima and Oryu. A youth rom-com about an ordinary high school boy, well, maybe with a higher sex drive than usual, is
Yeah,
helping out a
sure,
foreign
Brody.
Latina girl in trouble. Grateful,
Okay.
this super cheerful girl suddenly wants to marry him and have his children.
I'm not gonna lie. If this is like the average manga plot or like whatever genre this is, if this is like the average plot, this sounds pretty weak.
And so basically, this is the
But hey,
Japanese
go off.
title. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because I'll butcher it. But that was what came out on August 15th. And since then, there has been so many people that has either quote retweeted this, talked about this with taking screenshots, whatever, saying it's
Uh
racist, saying it's sexist, all
I don't know if it's racist. It's sexist? I don't know, maybe. That's debatable. That's definitely debatable. But if anything, you could say that it's in poor taste. You could say it's trashy. You could say it's degenerate. Like those are the words that I would say are more compatible with what's going on versus racist. Like, nah. If he saves the Latina girl and the Latina girl likes him and he likes her back, how was it racist? I I don't understand.
sorts of different type of
I
stuff.
don't
You know how it goes.
understand.
This is Twitter, this is social media, this is online. There's a
Yeah, it's
lot of
online. It
terminally
doesn't make
online
sense.
people. But the
Yeah.
point of the matter is that once this all happened, once things started to bubble a little bit to the surface, the
Mm,
author of the story chimed in and made a
okay.
statement, basically saying that I'll pull it up and I'll like translate here.
Yeah, let's
They
see
say,
it.
"I
Let's
am
see
the
it.
author. The heroine is an indigenous Amazonian woman whose second language is Portuguese. For Latina, we asked the AI, what are some typical South American female names? And chose one from the list of suggestions. I never thought it would be a word that describes Latina women in general." And then
I mean, I feel like this is an issue when it comes to like cultures, right? This is a Japanese man that lives in Japan, probably has never seen or had a conversation with a Spanish woman, right? So, he's outside of his box, right? He is not in his lane whatsoever. And, I don't think it's a bad thing for him to attempt or like his studio to attempt to make this because if anything, more Latin representation in manga I think would be cool. Why not? More representation for more diversity, sure. But you need to be able to also get it correct. I think that's also big, right? To have a Latina, but you don't really know any Latinas or Latinos. right, to help you create this script or create these characters, it does come off a bit distasteful. At the same time, you know, I could see this being a good thing if he decides to educate himself when it comes to like Latin culture, and instead of just having like basically a Japanese person, but they're a Latina. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't know Latina culture, but it's like this is just a Japanese girl, but we made her brown and we made her a Latina, right? So if this could definitely go well, or it could be absolutely terrible. It could go either way, honestly. But let's see what he has to offer. Let's let him cook. I mean, he might burn the place down, but hey, fuck it, let's watch.
And they go on to describe this. If you back up, they basically say the exact same thing, but in English. And they clarify that they're using a translation program to communicate to everybody right now because
Yeah,
obviously English isn't their first language.
yeah. So he definitely 100% Japanese, right? He only speaks Japanese, at least from what this shows portrays, right? He only speaks Japanese. I would assume he doesn't know any Latin people. So yeah, this is definitely coming off more distasteful, but it's definitely not racist. Like there's a line, okay? There's lines for everything. You can't just skip straight to racism, right? You got to go through a couple steps before we get there. But right now, it is coming off a bit distasteful. But it's also like, hey, who am I to say that he can't make it? You know what I'm saying? I just would hope that he makes it right. Because if he was to make a manga about black people, would hopefully I would hope that he's done his research and he actually portrays the black culture the way that the black culture is. I'm not saying you have to paint it right, but I definitely wouldn't want you to paint it wrong either. I would want you to portray it as it is. Same thing with Latin culture or Japanese culture. Portray it as what it is. This is the culture. There's good and there's bad in all cultures around the world, right? I say we let him cook and see if he fucks it up.
And so, obviously, thanks to this statement from the author themselves, apparently, it has got the series even more attention, and negative and positive attention at that, in the last 24 or so hours. So let's get into this whole controversy and why I think it's dumb, but also why people are upset to begin with. So I'm going to talk about both sides, okay? I'm not saying I agree with, like, whatever side at the moment. I'm just going to talk about both sides and see what both sides are
Let
coming
him
from, okay?
cook.
So I'm going to play, like, the middleman at the moment. So
The
basically,
middleman.
the reason why people are upset is because the author decided to use a name generator using an AI to name.
Yeah, that one's I think that one's kind of whatever, right? Using AI as a name generator. He's like we said earlier, he's a Japanese man. He might not know any Latins, right? What's better, going to Google and type in Latin names or using AI to find a Latin name? At this point, it's almost the same shit, right? You're gonna go to Google or you're gonna go to an AI. The AI is probably gonna pull up some shit from Google. It's like so when it comes to name generation, who really cares? This is like a no point. This is for morons. Next.
His main female character Latina. And basically, when they were doing
Yeah, I wouldn't name her Latina though.
this AI generation, they
I wouldn't name her Latina.
decided to look up Latina women names, female names. That's what they searched for. And the first thing they picked out of the list was literally just Latina. Now,
Terrible idea. Should have
regardless
should have looked at it again and said, maybe that's not right.
of how ironic and somewhat hilarious that is to a degree to me, I could see why somebody will be like, huh, so he didn't put a lot of research into it.
Yes.
He instantly chose a name and all that. He was too lazy to maybe learn about the culture. This is what some will say. I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm just saying what one side is.
I mean, just based off the first impressions are important. In human nature, first impressions are the most important thing. So the first thing I see whenever I see a manga that's talking about a Latina, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's the character's name? And the character's name is Latina. Well, of course, it doesn't come off very professional or very correct or makes it look like he did any research. Yeah, sure. But he might make a fire manga, but it's very doubtful whenever the first thing I see is like something that's like, bro, you didn't try.
Saying
Let's let him
once
cook.
I was saying
Fuck it.
maybe he didn't put a lot of research into something, maybe he didn't look into something. It's like if
That's
we're
what it looks like.
seeing this from the author that's using AI to be able to just get the name of a character, how far will they go using AI to potentially write their story?
That's also true. If you're going to use AI for a name, how do I know you're not going to use AI for the whole thing? That's also true. Maybe you use AI for it and then you go back and you change it up personally. Maybe that is something that can happen, right? And that's also the thing with AI. It's like AI in itself is not terrible. The way we use AI can be terrible. If you use AI to make scripts so you can fire people that make scripts, terrible. If you use AI to make art because you don't want to hire artists, terrible. That being said, you can use AI to help create scripts, or you make a script and you have AI edit it. Same thing with art, but it's a slippery slope. So it's like as soon as people hear AI, now there's questions. How much of this is AI? How much of this is you making it yourself? It's a real conversation. It really is important. And like I said, just hearing name generation AI, not a big deal, but creates doubt in other people's minds. So for me, someone that enjoys AI, that knows AI is next and AI is here, right? I see it as okay, you used it for names and the name didn't go out right. Are you going to use it for your manga or for your script or whatever? I don't know, but I mean, if the product is good, then the product is good. But AI right now, it probably wouldn't make a great product on its own. So if the product is mid, I'm not going to check it out anyway, right? So what's honestly, bro, what's the big deal? Right? Something that you probably weren't gonna watch anyway being created by AI, and if the AI made it mid, you weren't gonna watch it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Though it could have been somebody else's job, but let's keep it real, bro. You don't care about anybody else besides yourself. You only care about your entertainment. You only care about what's good for you. The only people that we care about in this world is really ourselves, right? Of course, people care about family, friends, you only care about yourself. Let's keep it a buck 50.
That's the type of discussion the side that doesn't like this situation is going for, saying that this offer and what they're potentially writing is AI light novel slop and nothing necessarily good or innovating or great, etc. That is what.
Also, you shouldn't expect every single person that creates something to make it innovating or be the next greatest thing. Only a small percentage of people are able to create something like that. But it also sucks because this is supposed to be like some Latin representation. So I understand. It's like, yo, our first Latin representation in manga, and it's this, and it might not be good, and it might be made with AI, and it might hurt the perceived value of said culture. Perceived value, not the actual value, but the perceived value. So yeah, it's definitely important, right? Even though I say like, oh, who cares or whatever. Yeah, it's on both sides because there are people that legitimately care because it's their culture being represented, right? I would change my tune if it was my culture being represented. I know that. Of course, right? I can see both sides of the fence. I can be on both sides of the fence and then stand on top of the fence and then tap dance on that motherfucker because I can see different perspectives because I talk to many different people in many different walks of life. So, yes, it matters. And at the same time, it doesn't because is that going to stop you from going to work today? Is that going to interrupt you from getting your In and Out burger? Is that going to stop you from having sex with your beautiful wife if you have one or husband if you have one? No, it's not. It's cultural representation. And if it sucks, then it sucks. But it's also something that you could make better. Everybody can make a YouTube channel. Anybody can make a YouTube video, right? But not everybody wants to take up the task of doing this creative shit. So it's multiple perspectives. But at the end of the day, it's a big deal, but not really. It's a big deal to certain people.
What the one side is saying. Now, on the other side, people are saying that, and I've seen this a lot from Latin Americans actually, and people in South America and everything, talking about how they're fine with this. And I'm not
Okay.
saying that
And if they're fine with it, hey, it is what it is.
this
It's their culture. So if they're fine with it, hey, who am I to get mad?
they're the voice of everybody a part of South America or whatever, but I have definitely seen a lot of people from South America actually happy with this title, actually happy
Okay.
with this being written, even if it
Okay.
is using AI to a degree, because they like to see, series about their
Representation.
country, like to see
Yes.
somewhat of
Yes.
their culture represented.
Yes.
And
Yes. But hopefully it's represented correctly, or else other people are gonna go to your country or go to your culture and expect it to be like this manga. I mean, if you think that's far fetched, how many Americans went to Japan thinking everything was gonna be like Shinjuku or Shibuya, right? Japan is vast, Japan is big. Not everything is gonna be like Akihabara, right? but that's the perception that, oh, all of Japan is like this, so let's go to Japan and try and do this shit. And we seen it in the early, what, 2010s, if you remember that. Yeah. Weeaboo
So
culture was big back in the day.
So I have seen this discussion where a lot of people from South America is legitimately happy.
That's
So
fine.
I've seen both sides here, and
Mm,
I see where both sides are coming from to a different degree. But one of the big things
mm,
I do want to talk about, and I want to make sure it is out there before I go any further, is
okay.
that a lot of people coming into this in a negative light are looking at this because the offer's using AI. And I think that is a big
Okay.
thing to talk about.
So that's the big thing that they're pushing is AI, not the cultural misinterpretation, not the name of the manga. It's the AI part. Okay. Well, we already talked about the AI part on my side, so let's hear it.
Obviously, AI is a big discussion in this day and age. You know, you have AI taking people's jobs away, either voice acting jobs, translator jobs, artist jobs, all sorts of things. And, I'm not gonna get too deep into the subject, but the point of the matter is that there is a lot of negativity, a lot of negative vibes around AI. Any form of AI is instantly chastised and basically wrote up as evil. That is what the community online pretty much almost 100% says. Now, there is obviously some that disagrees with that, but you get my point. AI does have a lot of negativity around it. So when you hear an offer is using AI to be able to help with their series, especially naming their main female character, instantly people are like, this is going to be trash because it's using AI. There's nothing to write home,
Yeah, there's gonna be people that write it off immediately.
nothing going to be good, etc., nothing redeeming about it because the offer is using AI. That is the negativity people are going into this discussion first. First off, they're not looking too deep into it. That's just the only thing that they're looking at when they read this offer's comments, and that's all they get from it. And I want to throw out something here to make sure we put this point across. AI, regardless if you're against it, you don't like it, whatever, AI is the future, okay? I've said this already in many other videos.
Yes, it's
You
true.
can try to fight back against it, whatever. Companies are going to utilize AI. Companies are going to bring AI into their workspace.
Bro, the only way to fight AI, and I've said this before and I'll say it again because it has to keep being said, is regulation. We need to regulate it to make sure that it causes the least amount of damage possible while giving us the most benefit. Regulation is definitely what needs to be talked about, not trying to stop it, not trying to silence people that use it or, condemn them like, "Oh, you use AI, you're terrible." Online. No, you need to stop looking at the people that use AI and look at the people that create AI and then look at the governments that are implementing AI and the companies that implement AI and say, hey, there needs to be more guidelines. That's what we should do. That is what we need to do as a species because AI is above us. Even though right now it looks dumb, this is a sleeping giant. And a lot of people don't realize it. And it's going to change the entire world for everybody, every single person, right? So regulation is the most important thing when it comes to AI.
They're going to use AI to be able to cut costs, save money, etc. But on top of that, AI is a tool that will be used to assist creators. Love or disagree with that,
Yes,
it doesn't matter. It will
it
be
doesn't
used. You'll
matter
have
exactly.
either like maybe a business meeting and they're figuring out titles for their game or whatever, okay? Or
And AI
product.
can do
And
it.
so they run a potential titles or thought experiment within an AI generator, and the AI will come back with a bunch of different names or something for the product that they want to produce, maybe for a game or whatever. And so AI is definitely going to be used like that. And so
Yes.
the offer using AI to generate names is nothing necessarily that is unreal or
Yes.
unrealistic. It's going to
Yes.
happen. A lot of companies
Of
probably do this.
course.
A lot of companies probably do this that we're completely unaware of that do this. I
Yes.
want to
They
bet
keep
you
it
a
quiet.
lot of mainstream gaming companies and
They keep it
everything
quiet.
probably do use AI to potentially choose names or something or themes for their products. They use AI for that. I'm willing to bet you that there is probably a lot of companies out
Oh,
there
you'd
that do
win that
that.
bet,
Now, to
brother.
make this
You'd
very
win that
clear, I'm
bet.
not saying I agree
100%.
with this, direction,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
technology is taking, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying I disagree with it either. I'm just saying
He's not giving his
that it
own
is going to be
opinion. He was
used.
talking
And the
about
offer
facts.
doing this is just more or less what culture and society is heading towards. And,
True.
getting name suggestions for whatever your characters are or themes of your story is not necessarily something that's too bad to think about, because it's like if they can figure out maybe, okay, I want this character to go to a cave or whatever, the AI can write it up and then the author can look at it and then proofread it and then edit it into more of a cohesive narrative.
Yes, for people that want to actually achieve something that's not just a lazy product, that is exactly what they will do. Or they will literally just use AI and not proofread it, not check it. They would just use AI and go on its word. And I think a lot of people would do that. So that's what we also need to be aware of. There are going to be people that skip the creative process and just say, hey, AI can do it for me because I am not going to do it, or I don't want to do it, or I can't do it, but AI can. Yeah, 100%. There's both sides of the fence, man. It's not just extremely positive, it's not extremely negative either. There's a middle ground, and it's up to us to decide, what to point out and say, hey, this is bad, and then point at something and say, hey, this is good. Yes, 100%.
For the story, something like that. Now, obviously, this is way off topic from just the name decision, etc. What I'm getting at is the usage of AI and how it could speed up the progress of, adapting and writing stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah, that is the main general gist of the conversation. A lot of people coming into this, manga, looking at this for the first time, are like, this is coming from, people that automatically have hatred and negativity towards AI. So hearing that the author is apparently using AI, they're instantly going to hate it, regardless if it's one of the best series to ever come out in the next 1,000 years, so to speak. I know that's definitely not going to happen, but let's hypothetically say that this series here, this
I get what you're
Latina
saying.
rom-com, is going to be the best series in the next 1,000 years. There's going to be people that absolutely hate it just because AI is used with it. And
Yes.
there's no other
Yes.
reason. There's no
Yes.
other excuse. That's it. That's the
Yes.
only reason. They will
Yes.
never even
And those are naysayers. Those are the people we shouldn't listen to, because those are the people that are also hindering the progress of technology. And whether they like it or not, technology is going to progress. So trying to talk to them, not forget it, they're lost. And if anything, they might be the next homeless people. They might be the people stuck because they don't want to adapt. It's adapt or die. That is the human evolution. That is the way it works. It's hard, it's tough, it's not easy. But it takes a community to make sure stuff like that doesn't happen, to make sure people aren't homeless, to make sure other humans are taken care of. That is the community aspect. Yes, it can be cold, it can be heartless, it can be tough, but it also can be mitigated with human compassion, the human element that we all have inside of us. Well, not all of us, because some people are obviously sociopaths, psychopaths, maniacs, people that don't care about anybody besides themselves. But it's still up to us, the people that actually can understand and care for one another, to take care of each other, because we're all we got. AI is going to do its thing. Psychopaths are going to do their thing. We can also do our thing to try and mitigate those damages and make sure everything comes out okay in the end.
even read it, they'll never even touch it, they'll only see what the author said, and that's it, and they'll never go any further. And this is a statement
And
that can
that's
be
their
honestly
issue.
applied to a lot of people when it comes to cultures with different entertainment as well. They make an
True.
entire assumption on something before they even try it out. It's kind of
True.
like what you have going on with the anime and manga community as of late, where people, want manga and anime to conform to their ideals of what they want when they're really new to it and they don't really understand what anime and manga is about. But anyways,
Okay, so there's new people in the anime community that don't know anything about anime, and they're trying to force their political agendas onto it. Well, that sounds like Disney. Absolutely sounds like Disney. So stop watching Disney products. Point blank, period.
yeah, it's a very
Moana
long-winded
2's coming out. Who cares?
topic here, as obviously I'm getting into, but I feel like this drama overall is just incredibly dumb. It's just like, yes, I understand why some would call it AI slop or light novel slop, whatever, but it's like, dude, AI is the future. People have used suggestions for a very long time. It's going to be a tool that's going to be able to help in the future, and once again, feel free to disagree with me, nothing wrong with that. It is.
No, if anything, I think it's just the laziness aspect for me personally. It's like if I was to make a manga or a TV show or video game about Incan culture, and I don't know anything about Incan culture, right? I know very little about that culture, and I go to Google or an A, or you know what, just same scenario. I go to an AI, I type in Incan names, and one of the names on the list is Incan, and I'm like, okay, Incan it is. Yeah, it's gonna come across like I don't know shit about Incan culture, because I don't, right? This author doesn't know much about Latin culture, but he wanted to make something because maybe he enjoys it. Maybe he likes Latin culture, but you can like something and not know anything about it. That's like that's real shit, right? You like food, but you don't know how to cook. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I can get the issue. I can get the argument. Is it a dumb argument? I don't know if it's dumb. I think the reasoning is dumb, 100%, but I think anything that involves creativity and AI right now is the most important because creativity is a pillar of humanity. So as soon as we get rid of creativity, like people already don't think for themselves. Imagine when people can't express themselves and then the new world order and they can just take over, right? Of course, not everybody wants to get that deep, but that's how life works, right? And if you don't realize it, that's your fault. That's your issue. And that's why you'll be at the bottom and other people will be at the top. So it's up to you to educate yourself and learn these things. You pick up a book. Several people online talking about these things deeper than just hee hee ha ha or manga or entertainment. You guys better wake the fuck up because if you don't, hey, that's your problem, not mine. But yeah, it is definitely an important conversation to have. And I think more people should have these conversations, which is why I'm also launching a podcast. We're going to be having these more deep and more impactful, more important conversations because I think that we need these conversations to be had. So if you're interested in having these conversations, of course, hit me up in the Discord link down below. If you enjoyed the video, like, and if you're new, subscribe, man. This is the second video I've seen from Chibi Reviews. I enjoy Chibi, if you're ever watching this, bro, I enjoy the commentary that you have, and I would love to have you on the podcast one day. But until then, I will see you guys when I see you guys. Comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.